have two videos. One is about the barn as a building, construction, blah, blah, blah. Hopefully be fairly short. We're gonna do a second video about the barn as a gym. That's obviously what we built it for. Anywhere that we've posted anything about this structure, a lot of commentary regarding like how unnecessary it is to build this whole building, just use it for this. That's pretty much why we moved out here. If you've seen any of our other videos whatsoever, we sold our house in town. We had a ton of equity in that house. Moved out here, bought a house cheaper than our other one sold for, so technically downgraded our house. Even though our new house is bigger, our new house was built a lot more recently. It's about 20 years newer. We have a couple acres out here, so we downgraded our house that had a ton of equity in it, and have since used the equity to remodel our house, build barns, etc., etc. So just to be totally upfront about that, like this has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that we luckily, when we worked for Apple a million years ago, used our Apple stock to buy a house at the right time, and luckily in this market, sold a house at the right time, and made some financial choices as grown-ups that enabled us to build this barn. A lot of people like make really snide comments, but I think it's like anything. Like if you have a goal, you work towards it, you chip away at it, you can build whatever you want. Anyway, literally this was my goal, to build this barn. We worked really hard for it and we built it. Our barn is 30 by 40 by 12. What's crazy is we did a ton of research on what size to build. A lot of people in our neighborhood out in the country have barns, shops, whatever you want to call them. And I didn't really know anybody out here. I asked everybody if I could come look at their shop. And people thought we were super weird, but they let me come look at their shop, and I decided that this was the best size. Obviously, we could go 40 by 40, 40 by 50, whatever. Couple reasons choosing this size. I had sent a DM to Jacob Hefner like a year ago when we were first considering moving. And he said this was the size of his first barn, not the gorgeous one he has now. And that looked great. I'm mostly training by myself. I wish I had a whole squad like Rich Froning to train with me, but I'm mostly training by myself. And for a team of one or two, or me, my wife, my daughter, this is a great size. And you also want to minimize cost, right? So you don't want to pay for more than you need, but you don't want to build it and then be like, oh, I really wish I built something bigger. So I felt like this would be a really great size. It's a really common size for this area, and it was really easy to build it as a garage. So the forward thinking is, if we ever sell the house, we have no intention of selling it, but if we ever do sell it, we would position this as a shop or a detached garage. So the shop is 40 by 30 by 12. We chose 12-foot wall height for the exact same reason, right? So in the future, 14-foot wall height, which would be better for CrossFit style stuff, but 14-foot wall height ends up making the shop taller than the house, so it looks really weird. It also is a lot harder to heat and cool. It's also a lot more materials in terms of finish out, so we went with 12-foot wall height. Again, thinking like, I obviously would love more, but I don't need it, so I'm just gonna pay for what would I think I could use. So 40-foot long, 30-foot deep, and 12-foot high. This is a post frame construction building. Post frame is different than like a house is stick frame construction, meaning that they pour the slab, they frame out walls, then they finish and insulate it. Red iron building, they also pour concrete first, then they put steel up, and then they finish it out. This is, they dig holes in the ground, drop these 6x6 posts, they put all the wood horizontal around the building, and then they do the concrete last. Doing the concrete last helps reinforce the walls, so it's actually more stable than stick frame. Not as stable as red iron theoretically, because wood still rots over time, so versus iron never rots. But what had happened was, back in the fall, we got a bid to build this shop. They were like, oh yeah, turnkey, you can go all in, turnkey, $35,000, blah, 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 blah. And we're like, okay, cool, we're gonna get all this money together, circle back and build this building, whatever. Get all our money together, go back to the contractor, and he's like, hey, just kidding, it's $55,000 now. And that wasn't including any finish out or, any upgrades that we wanted to do. So we went post frame. Post frame's much cheaper, and I subcontracted it myself. I bought as much wholesale as I could, and that's what we ended up with. 30 by 40 by 12. As is cost $55,000. That was our all-in budget. I had no more money to spend, so we maxed it out. But I feel like we're happy with what we got. We have 2 front bay doors. The bay doors are 12 by 10, so 12 foot wide, 10 feet high. Standard bay doors, roll-up doors are 10 by 10. But I thought that if we did like 10 foot and 10 foot, when we got all the mock-ups on it, there was like a lot of dead space, and I thought it looked really awkward. A lot of people do bay door, they do 10 by 10, 10 by 10, and then a walk-through door on the front. I didn't want the walk-through door on the front. I just wanted more door. I thought it looked better, and I thought that it would also help with airflow and whatever. So 30 by 40 by 12, and these are 12 by 10. We'll start this way. This is a man door, aka walk-through door. We have one on this side. The barn, when we got the bid for the barn, it came with these standard single pane 5 by 5s.
3 by 3.
3 by 3 windows. And we wanted black double pane vinyl windows. These insulate better. We do have electrical in here. We did run Cat 6 cable to the barn. Over under if it's still working. 2 windows. We have outlets on all the walls except the back. There's no electricity on the back wall. That was intentional because I feel like my equipment was gonna block it. So why put them in? Another man door, 2 more windows, and then the front. The building does not have plumbing. People be like, oh, why didn't you do plumbing? Oh, because it costs a lot of money. It was gonna cost like $10,000, $15,000 just to put a bathroom out here. We live in the country, so obviously we are on septic. So trenching the septic and getting permitting for that, contacting the county for that was an absolute nightmare. So obviously from here you can see my house. So you just walk in the house to use the bathroom. Electrical was actually kind of a bitch, but I mean, it could have been worse. Obviously the building has electrical, it has to have electrical. We have 8 high bays. They're UFO LED high bays with PVC reflectors. They kind of look like farmhouse lights, which was the goal, but they're high bays. The plastic domes on them help reflect the light. We went with OSB on the walls. OSB is a really good insulator. Also, it's cheaper than metal. A lot of people don't finish out their barns, like they leave the wall exposed, but I really, like the point of building it was so that you could work out in any weather. So I really wanted the whole thing insulated. We insulated it from the jump with fiberglass. A lot of people do spray foam. We opted not for spray foam because of cost. Spray foam is pretty expensive. And you know, the R value on spray foam is the same as fiberglass. But anyways, so we have on the outside of the building, we're gonna do we'll attach some videos of the exterior of the building. But basically, the outside is sheet metal, right? And then you have a vinyl or an R3 vapor barrier, moisture barrier, and it's white on the inside, but the moisture barrier looks like aluminum foil on the outside to reflect heat. The building is black, it does get hot, but anything's gonna get hot. But you do have on your vapor barrier, it's aluminum like foil on the outside, reflects heat. And then we have studding in the walls. That was quite a bit of money in wood. And then we have OSB, and then the OSB has been painted. We have R19 in the walls. Nikki and I did it ourselves. We studded the walls 2x4s. They're flush with the front of the 6x6s. We could have done 2x6s throughout, but the way that the purlins run on the exterior, it would have been really hard to lay all of them flush. So we went with 2x4s. So it kind of is what it is. We don't have a mini split right now. That's we'll see once it gets a little cooler, like how really cold it is. We live in East Texas. East Texas doesn't get we get a couple freezes a year, but nothing super crazy. But the goal would be to get a mini split. We obviously have a fan right now. It'd be really easy to add like a window unit for AC, or we have a couple portable ACs inside. We could move one out here. Yeah, I think in terms of construction, that's what we did. I could do a price breakdown, or you can email, or you can comment if you have more specific questions about what everything cost. We got everything wholesale that we could. We called in as many favors as we could. And by wholesale, I mean like wholesale wood, wholesale lumber, wholesale paint. The garage doors, we ordered wholesale. We contacted the door manufacturer. We ordered them from the door manufacturer and went and had to go pick them up ourselves. So everything that we got wholesale, we could. Ended up saving about $20,000 that way by wholesaling it, picking it up ourselves, subcontracting ourselves. And I have no regrets. I really like the way that it turned out. If you have questions or suggestions, or you would have done something different, just let me know. Thanks.